Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Lionel. I'm your host for LT Productions. You're watching I Watch You Watch. We're covering Complicated Atlanta. This is season 1, episode 2. Now, you know, the pilot episode was something. Episode 2 is just the same. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video. Also, subscribe to my channel and leave your comments below. All right, so we begin this episode with Quintrell. He is sleeping with, just in bed, with Sanchez. Sanchez is there right next to him. He's sleeping and he's able to do what he could do. But Quintrell is up and he's thinking. And all of a sudden we get this flashback. We go back in time to when he looked like probably 13, 14, around that age. A woman is singing and we find out that that is his mom, who is the first lady of the church. So she's singing and just rocking the house. I'm noticing and scanning the crowd. If you have watched already, there's this one noticeable lady in this red dress that's just quite acrobatic during the singing of the first lady. So after service, first lady is in the back, and then also Q. Q was ready to eat. She was talking with someone else at the time, but then Q did congratulate her for doing a great job of singing. Of course, she took the high road and just saying, you know, this is all God. But then she said, I really did move him, didn't I? Yeah. But Q, again, is hungry and he's waiting, ready to go. And mom said, I'm sure your father is about ready to go. Let's see where he is. As she's moving towards his office, she sees it open with this woman that's there. It's the same woman in this red dress. Now, if you're from the church world, some of the most seemingly deep with God people is only a mask, if you get what I mean. So he's there and you can tell that there is some type of relationship going on. Mama, she ends up, or first lady ends up stopping Q from seeing anything, and she's saying, let's go on over here, blah 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 blah. We fast forward to the future, and he's sitting there. I think at this time Chez has kind of turned over in the bed. And then he does this quick little brush, or what do you want to call it? Caress of Chez's skin while he's there. There's a deep, passionate love for Chez. And Chez, I don't want to say none of the wiser, but I kind of think that Chez knows, but that's not his lifestyle, as she kind of would say. That's not what I'm about, or the part of me, or whatever what she wants to say. So I don't know if that's it, and he's just avoiding it. But obviously, Q got it bad. All right, so the next morning, Chez is up. He's ready. Q is finally knocked out because it looks like he's been up all night. He's getting ready, and then, as quiet as Chez wanted to be, he ended up dropping his keys and waking up Q. They talk for a few minutes. You know, how did you sleep last night? Like, I finally dozed off, but I had a lot on my mind. Chez was like, you know, I'm sorry that you're really going through this. And then he was like, well, I'm glad that I have someone like you that I can really go through this with. And he grabs his hand, is passionate, and it could be like a friendly passionate. And for whatever reason, Chez is not picking it up as far as romantic feelings that or a vibe from Chez. So Chez does say, you know, I'll always have your back. And then at that point, Q did ask, you know, at 3 o'clock, are we still going to do what we're going to do? And he said, yes, most definitely. And of course, Q asked Chez, where you going? He's saying, hey, what I do every day, trying to save the world. And they both laugh, and then he goes off to do his thing. Meanwhile, in the next scene, we have Deja and O'Brien, or Obi. They are out to eat somewhere, but it almost seems like it's lunch. But it looks like it was a rough night for Q anyway, so hey, let's just say it's afternoon or mid-morning or whatever. They're out to eat. Obi's trying to get Deja to open up. He's asking her different questions, you know, how is auditioning going? She's like, she's been killing it, which we know she wasn't, but whatever. She's finally ready to tell him, and then he gets a phone call. He gets up, and we find out that it's from, he's a bartender. He moonlights at a club. So they called him in for another shift. He didn't really want to go because today is a date night for him and or date day or whatever you want to call it with Deja. And she said, no, go on in. Then later on, I can come in. I think he suggested, well, later on then, you can come in and your favorite bartender can take care of you. And she said, that sounds nice. She says that she's going to be going to a workshop for the day. And he did circle back around to say, is there anything you really wanted to ask me or tell me? And she basically says, I'm really proud of you. So she suckers out of it. And they both of them just give each other affirmations that they're going to make it. He's ready to tell the barber owner where to go, but Deja was like, wait a minute, you're the only one in the home with some income. You might want to put that on hold or rethink how you're thinking right now. And he said, you're right, I won't do it, blah, 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 blah. So, after that scene, Sanchez, we find out that he's delivering food. He's 45 minutes late. Of course, Atlantic traffic caused him to be this late. He meets Hakeem. Hakeem ends up talking about the business, which is Black Swan, which is an upcoming media company. They have a monthly magazine and have recently started a daytime talk show. It's called A Melanin Table Talk. At the same time as Hakeem is explaining what the business is all about, Chez, in his slick way, is now trying to seduce the guy. He done open his shirt up more and then put himself in position like a cat. Like, okay, sir, you want him. So then Chez asked Hakeem, what does he do? He's going through the rundown of everything, and Chez was like, so basically you are a secretary. And basically he clocked him, whatever. So all of a sudden Chez is very handsy on him. They flirt. Chez invites Hakeem to get some food, and he said, hey, it's about time for lunch, so let's go. All right, so Chez and Hakeem, they do go out to lunch. They are walking out in the park. I'm like, didn't y'all just meet? And you already cozying up to this dude? He got his arm around you and all that? I said, Lord. So I'm just trying to figure out if Chez is some type of hopeless romantic, because he seems to jump right into whatever is attracting him at the moment. That's what I'm getting. But you guys can leave your comments about what you think about that. So while they're sitting down talking, here comes O'Brien. O'Brien is running. His shift at the barbershop is over. And of course, it surprises and pisses off Chez, like, what are you doing here? And Obi's like, hey, I'm a friend, blah, 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 blah. He's acting very friendly, and it's very awkward for Chez for whatever reason. He wants to meet Hakeem, they meet, blah, 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 blah. Obi's like, hey, I got my weed man coming over. Do you want me to get some for later? And he's like, how I'm seeing Chez, or even the actor is even playing it, I forgot his name. It's like he wants him to go, but at the same time, he's melting under Obi's presence, So I was like, sir, get it together. Get it together now. So he basically says, yes, no, go away. Basically, he leaves, and Hakeem was like, well, is that a live-in trade or something like that? He's like, no. That's my bestie's guy. So Hakeem gets a message from his job saying that all the afternoon meetings have been canceled. So then he says to Chez, you still want to hang out for a little while longer then? And he said yes, at the same time as he's getting a message from Q, basically wondering where he's at. It's 3:00. So at this point, Chez has ignored Q to be with this new guy. So Q pulls up to a gravesite, and he calls Chez at this point and tries to leave a message for him, because Chez is not answering. Then we get a new flashback. It's an update in age. At least Chez is more adult at this point, or mature, and he's crying because we're finding out that Mama has stage 4 cancer. And of course, the mom is speaking strength, and she's going to make it. And the dad, who's already very homophobic, has now said, quit all that crying. You're just crying like a sissy. Him and Q go at it. The mom steps in. It's like, even if I don't go from cancer, dealing with you guys and how you guys are treating each other will make me go more than even this cancer right now. So then Dad comes to the realization about her cancer. He starts to cry. How ironic. But he doesn't cry for long. He had to get himself together and be tough like a man. Then he leaves out of the room, and Q begins to cry some more. It just basically... Sorry, because it's something that I kind of dealt with. That not even kind of dealt with. Q said, "You can't leave me with him." I understand it. I understand that. It's a lot. Like, now I have a reverse role. My dad's gone. My mom's still here. And my mom acts like Q's dad. And we have no relationship. So I was just like, how you guys wrote this storyline and the character of Q, I just felt my life. Like, you just got a hold of my life. Like, I don't know even how you did it. But I'm sure other people are just like me. I'm like, oh my God. So then he goes back to real time and he's bawling and crying. Deja, she's at this acting workshop with the lady from the other day. Of course, she needed a volunteer, and guess who had to be picked? Deja. So she gives this monologue. Charles is there. He's standing over to the side watching her. Everybody's in amazement after she does complete her monologue, and she goes out the room. And Charles follows her. Of course, they have a run-in, and he's just talking about he's divorcing his wife. And she's like, okay, whatever. Have dinner with him. He's got so much to say at the DoubleTree. And basically, how Deja left it, she just walks off. She doesn't want anything to do with him. I think Jade broke it up. Jade, the assistant from the other night. She was basically saying, is everything okay? And she said, no, everything's good. And then Deja walks off. Jade scolds Charles and says, why don't you just leave her alone? And Charles says, why do you care? Because it seems like Jade is very kind of getting attached. So I know kind of where this story is going to between Jade and Deja. But we got to see. I'm jumping ahead, but we shall see. Basically, Charles said, mind your own business. And he walks off. All right, so it's nighttime. Obi's at the club. Of course, he got to wear that attire. There's this heifer that works there that is pushing up on Obi. And basically he says, no, I got a girlfriend, blah, 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 blah. He gets a text from Deja saying, hey, I decided not to come to the club. I'll be at home and I'll be waiting for you. When Obi says no and he walks off, this girl calls someone and says, he's rejecting he won't take the bait. So what do I do now? So obviously there's a scheme that's been set up by Top to come to us with the bullshit. We got to see what's going on. So this girl Heifer ends up breaking the ice machine. She tells Obi what's going on. Obi is going to go out to go get some ice. All right, so Chez and Hakeem have made it back to Chez's home. And guess what they're doing? They're praying. All night, all day. The angels watching over me, my Lord. No, they're not. No, the angels aren't. They might have turned their faces. They hunching. And hunching good. Chaz is riding like he ain't ever rode before. What is it? Beyonce song? Bounce with it. Bounce with it. Whatever that new song. Ride with no hands on it? Yeah. That's what Chaz is doing. And he's quite loud. So, Q walks in. And Q doesn't run right out. They stop what they're doing and are alarmed at Q for being there. What are you doing? Da 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 da. He finally shuts the door. Chaz runs after him downstairs, and Q is heartbroken. They have this discussion. Hakeem comes downstairs and is just weirded out. Hakeem, this is Q. Q, this is Hakeem. Q runs out, devastated, and basically says he's going to stay someplace else. Because Hakeem is weirded out, he also leaves too. And, of course, that upsets Chaz. So, Charles and Deja are having dinner, despite Deja saying that, hey, I'm not going I was going to stay home. So she's talking his talk and saying that I've been miserable since you left. They're just like, hold up. I didn't leave. I was forced out. Basically, his ex or wife knew about them. But he was always supposed to be discreet with his cheating and all that. But they just like, well, what's the difference? She knew that I loved you and I was ready to leave you for her. And he wanted to give her this ring. So at the same time, Obi's walking down the street with another heifer. And she ends up spotting Deja with David. And basically says, isn't that Deja right there? And basically, at this point, Obi gets upset. And we can see him walking into the restaurant. Or walking towards the door or whatever. Things are heating up. There seems to be a lot of vicious people in Atlanta that don't want to see some people happy. Chaz, you're thinking with another head, and you are disappointing your friends. Yes, Q is hurt, and it has something to do with his feelings for you. That's not your problem per se. However, you did neglect him during a time that he needed you. So, a lot's going on, but stay with me for episode 3. Hopefully you are enjoying. Hopefully you have watched. Please like this video. Also subscribe to my channel. And also leave your comments below. Until the next video, peace.